Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're travelling from the magnificent London King's Cross station all the way to Bradford Interchange, following one of Britain's most fascinating railway journeys. This route combines two very different railways. The first is the world-famous East Coast Main Line, one of Britain's premier high-speed railways. The second takes us across the industrial heart of West Yorkshire via Wakefield, Brighouse and Halifax before arriving in Bradford. Together, they tell the story of Victorian ambition, industrial expansion, and the continuing importance of rail travel in the 21st century. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this driver's eye view as we explore the history, engineering, and fascinating landmarks of the railway from London King's Cross to Bradford Interchange. Our journey begins beneath the magnificent arched roof of London King's Cross. The station opened in 1852 as the London terminus of the Great Northern Railway. At the time, Britain was in the middle of the railway mania, and the Great Northern Railway wanted a direct route from London to Yorkshire without relying on competing railway companies. King's Cross itself was revolutionary for its day. Designed by Lewis Cubitt, the station featured two enormous train sheds with simple brick architecture that has stood the test of time for well over 170 years. Leaving London, we quickly pass through the suburbs before reaching Finsbury Park, where commuter lines begin to separate from the main line. From here, the railway straightens out into one of Britain's fastest stretches of railway, where modern trains can reach speeds of up to 125 miles per hour. The East Coast Main Line was constructed in stages during the 19th century by several railway companies before eventually becoming one continuous route linking London with Yorkshire, Newcastle and Edinburgh. Today it remains one of the most important railway arteries in the United Kingdom, carrying millions of passengers every year alongside significant freight traffic. As we head north through Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire, the countryside begins to open up. This section of railway was engineered with remarkably gentle curves and gradients, allowing trains to maintain high speeds over long distances. Victorian engineers understood that fast railways needed smooth alignments, and much of their original work still serves today's railway remarkably well. Passing Peterborough, we're entering the historic county of Lincolnshire before reaching Grantham. Grantham has welcomed railway passengers since 1852 and has witnessed countless famous travellers, including royalty, politicians, and even Sir Isaac Newton's hometown nearby. Beyond Grantham lies Newark North Gate before we continue towards Retford. Retford is an important junction where routes branch towards Sheffield and Lincoln, illustrating just how interconnected Britain's railway network became during the Victorian era. Continuing north, we arrive at Doncaster. Few towns are more closely associated with Britain's railway history. Doncaster became one of the great railway engineering centres of the world. It was here that the legendary Flying Scotsman and Mallard steam locomotives were built. Mallard still holds the world speed record for a steam locomotive, reaching 126 miles per hour in 1938. Doncaster Works employed thousands of skilled workers for over a century, building and maintaining locomotives that travelled across Britain and around the world. Even today, Doncaster remains one of the busiest railway hubs in the country. North of Doncaster, our route diverges from the traditional East Coast Main Line. Rather than continuing towards York, Edinburgh or Newcastle, we head west towards Wakefield. This section was originally developed by the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway during the height of Britain's Industrial Revolution. Its purpose was straightforward but incredibly important. West Yorkshire was becoming one of the world's greatest manufacturing regions. Bradford's wool mills, Halifax's textile factories, and numerous engineering works required efficient transport to London and the ports of the East Coast. Railways transformed these industries. Instead of taking days by horse and canal, goods could now reach London in a matter of hours. Passengers also benefited enormously, connecting Yorkshire's rapidly growing towns with the capital for business and leisure. Approaching Wakefield, we pass through another historic railway centre. Wakefield was once surrounded by collieries, engineering works and power stations, all heavily dependent upon the railway. From here, our route heads towards Brighouse. This area is characterised by rolling hills, river valleys and numerous stone-built towns that developed alongside the textile industry. Unlike the straight, high-speed East Coast Main Line, the railway now becomes far more twisting and undulating as it follows the natural contours of the Calder Valley. This creates some spectacular driver's eye views as the railway winds between hillsides, rivers and historic industrial communities. One particularly interesting stop is Halifax. Halifax became famous worldwide for wool production, carpet manufacturing and banking. The railway allowed raw wool to arrive from ports across Britain before finished textiles were exported around the globe. The station itself sits dramatically within the valley, surrounded by steep hills and handsome Victorian architecture. Nearby stands Dean Cloth Mills, once among the largest carpet factories in the world. The sheer scale of industrial development here during the 19th century is astonishing. Leaving Halifax, the railway continues towards Bradford. The approach to Bradford is particularly interesting because of the city's unique railway geography. Unlike many major cities, Bradford has two principal railway stations. Bradford Forster Square serves services arriving from Leeds and the electrified Airedale line, while Bradford Interchange was developed on the former Lancashire and Yorkshire railway network and provides connections towards Halifax, Huddersfield and Manchester. Our destination today is Bradford Interchange. The station combines rail and bus services under one roof, making it one of Britain's earliest examples of an integrated transport interchange. Today, direct services between London King's Cross and Bradford Interchange are operated by Grand Central. Unlike many operators, Grand Central is an open-access railway company, meaning it operates commercially rather than under a government franchise. Its services generally follow the East Coast Main Line before branching at Doncaster and continuing through Wakefield, Brighouse, Halifax and into Bradford. Modern trains provide comfortable seating, on-board catering, Wi-Fi and direct links that avoid the need to change trains at Leeds. The East Coast Main Line itself continues to receive significant investment, with upgraded signalling, improved power supplies and infrastructure enhancements designed to increase reliability and capacity for both passenger and freight services. There are countless fascinating facts along today's journey. King's Cross remains one of Britain's most recognisable railway stations and has become famous worldwide through literature and film. Doncaster gave the world some of the greatest steam locomotives ever built. The Calder Valley showcases remarkable Victorian engineering, where railways weave through challenging landscapes of rivers, mills and steep-sided valleys. Halifax and Bradford remind us how closely Britain's railways were linked with the Industrial Revolution, carrying millions of tons of wool, coal, machinery and manufactured goods that helped shape the modern economy. Even today, as modern trains speed through these historic landscapes, they continue a tradition of railway travel that stretches back well over 170 years. That brings us to the end of our journey from London King's Cross to Bradford Interchange. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the history, engineering and remarkable story behind this important railway route. If you found the video interesting, please give it a thumbs up, share it with fellow railway enthusiasts, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for many more driver's eye view journeys, railway histories and route explorations from across the UK and beyond. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next journey. Safe travels!